sometimes in life, you have to take risks. You have to take risks in how you invest your money in order to reap the benefits. Sometimes you gotta risk not having a job in order to be self-sufficient, to make money online full-time, if that's something that you want to do. Sometimes you have to take the risk of moving to another country with the chance that you may not be successful. Sometimes you may want to take the risk of opening up a restaurant because that's something you always wanted to do and it may not be successful. But in order to grow, in order to progress in life, we need to be able to take risks. That's one of the single most important things that we need to develop as a habit, is that we need to be able to take risks. Like calculated risks, obviously, but sometimes even just if we do something that has a high risk, right? Think about it. It may have a high reward as well, or a high loss, right? It could go both ways. But an example of that is investing, right? If you invest money in cryptocurrency or something like that, right? Cryptocurrency is highly volatile. I only recently started investing in it, and I didn't really put too much money into it because I just started out, and I only put in enough money that I'm ready to lose, right? But there's still risk involved, right? And it's still quite a medium to high risk when it comes to cryptocurrency, because the prices are always fluctuating. And I'm also nervous and worried that I may lose my money, but at the end of the day, life is more enjoyable when there's a bit of risk involved, and you never know what your chances may be. But if you don't take that chance, you never know if you'll ever get to that level or not. You'll never know if you'll be successful or not because you never took that chance. And it's the same thing with relationships with people too. Sometimes you may not take the next step. For example, you may not ask that person out that you like because out of fear, you're risking the friendship. But you really like that person, right? And then you keep waiting, and eventually you don't ask that person out, and then you check the social media and you find out that he or she is dating somebody else. But you had a chance to ask her out, but it never happened. But that may have reaped you reward, and reward would have been a happy relationship. It could have been like that, or it could have not been. But you didn't take that chance. That chance was not taken. You didn't take it because you feared the risk behind it. There's so many things out there in our life, right, that have risk. When we drive, there's always a risk that we may get into an accident, God forbid. Whenever we travel by plane, there's always a risk that the plane may crash, God forbid. There is risk everywhere in everything we do, right? There's always danger lurking about. There's like an infinite number of ways that disaster could strike upon us. An asteroid from the space could come and hit Earth and destroy all life. Terrible natural disasters like earthquakes or volcanoes could erupt. There could be a war, a nuclear war. There's a lot of stuff, man. There's a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, we can't live our life in this like tiny little box, and we fear the world. We just hide in our rooms, and we're just afraid to step out and take risks or uncomfortable things, because the fastest way to growth is taking risk, to be honest. To be uncomfortable and to take that step. And the first step is always the hardest, right? The first step is always the hardest, but once you start going, it makes all the difference. High risk, high reward. That's something that we should always remember. But also we should remember high risk, high losses as well. It could go, as I said, it could go both ways. But I strongly believe that, you know, the more risks that you take in life that are calculated, that are not too insane, like you're not gonna put like your life savings into Bitcoin or some sort of cryptocurrency, because that's kind of stupid. But what I'm saying is that if you take certain steps, or you take risks, diversified risk, if you take diversified risk in different aspects of your life, always have a backup plan as well in mind too. That's important too. You have to have a backup plan. When you're applying for a job, or when you decide to lose your job, maybe work a part-time job in order to just sustain a little bit of your lifestyle while you're chasing your passion to make money online or something like that. When you're climbing a mountain, you got to make sure that you're prepared, right? Especially if it's a high mountain. If you're going to hike to the top of Mount Fuji or K2 or something like that, you won't be stupid and not be prepared, because you know you're setting yourself up for death, essentially. But even no matter how prepared you are, there's always risk involved, right? There's always a chance that you could get injured when you go hiking. There's always a chance that you could get injured skydiving or bungee jumping. There's risk involved. There's always risks involved. But I strongly believe that like there is true enjoyment and in taking risks, despite the fact that you know you were very worried about what could happen. There is enjoyment. There's certain enjoyment out of it, and there's certain you know, you start appreciating life more. You start enjoying life more once you take more risks in life. So man, go on that backpacking trip to Europe. You know, the money will always come back eventually. Dude, just do that backpacking trip around Europe. Don't be afraid to invest some money in stocks or a little bit of money into cryptocurrency and just see what happens, right? You know, if you may like it. You may say that this is for you. You may say that, or you may not. But at least test the waters. That's probably good advice, is to like test the waters first. But whatever that has risk involved, test the waters first. If you want to go bungee jumping, watch some YouTube videos about it, about the safety behind it. If you want to do skydiving, learn about the safety behind it through YouTube videos to mentally prepare yourself and to educate yourself. The more you educate yourself about the risks, about something that you want to do, the more prepared you'll be, you know, and then you'll be more content and accept no, I'm not gonna say losses when it comes to skydiving, because the only loss is death. But when it comes to investing, if the more research you make and you know about the risks behind it, the better off you'll be, right? The fastest way to success is by honestly taking risks in life. The fastest way to enjoyment and to change your lifestyle, to change the quality of your life, is by actually taking risks. You know, so don't be afraid. This life is short, bro. We don't have a lot of time left in this world. So it's important to make the best of it, and you know, and take some form of risk. If you're not taking any risks in your life, if you're just living a very comfortable and safe life, you just, you know, that's fine. That's on you. That if you're happy and you're content with your life, that's cool. But I just feel like you would level up more in life if you were to take more risks. Specific risks, calculated risks. Do the research first. Mentally prepare yourself. Give yourself some knowledge. That's the most important thing. Don't just haphazardly, blindly take a risk without doing the research, you know, because that'll just set yourself up for disaster. Don't tell yourself, you know what, I'm gonna take a trip to Nepal, I'm gonna climb Mount Fuji without any previous training. I'm not gonna hire any Sherpas. I'm not gonna hire a crew. I'm just gonna take, you know, this little hiking backpack and go up to the top because I'm strong. I have high stamina, and you know, maybe one or two people in the past have done it, so maybe I can do it. No, that's not the type of mentality you should have. You shouldn't be like, oh, you know what? A lot of people are making money off cryptocurrency, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put in $10K or 20K into Bitcoin, which is basically my life savings and all the money that I made, and then I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and make $1 million. No, that is not how it works. That is a very stupid decision to make. You know what? I'm gonna ask, that girl's been looking at me a lot at the convenience store, and she's pretty cute. You know what? I'm gonna walk in there today, and you know what? I'm gonna ask her out. Go ahead. It could work. It might work. It might not work. You know what? That coworker at my workplace, she's really, really cute. She gives me these stares, and I think she's married because I saw a ring on her finger. But you know what? I'm still gonna ask her out anyways. Yeah, but probably not a good idea. But yeah, you see, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Anyways.